Well, you can choose to be emotional about this sort of stuff or not, and I think I'm choosing to be emotional about it. I think I'm taking this personally now, and it's taken me 20 years to do so. I didn't as a kid because I was taught a different kind of history. So I'm going to go and run across the mountains in this place that I now call home. I'm a Gippslander. The very place that a Scottish bloke came over the mountains and put on the map, at least for the Europeans. But of course the Aboriginal people had been here for thousands of years, and then all of a sudden he takes ownership of it. I really want to feel these sort of lands that McMillan went across all those years ago, because whether I like it or not, McMillan has shaped my history and the history of Gippsland. But it wasn't without a cost. A whole lot of bloodshed happened. That wasn't taught in school. There's McMillan's house, what's left of it, which is half the house and an outbuilding, I think. And that's where he lived with his wife, Christina. This is Bushy Park, the middle of 150,000 acres that he owned at one stage. Should have been pretty wild country. And yet he saw it as just this big pasture land. And that's how he got here, over the mountains.
I was taught about Angus McMillan as a kid. He was a local hero, a pioneer that opened up farmlands in Victoria in the mid-1800s. Seeing monuments and buildings and places with his name on it wasn't surprising. But things have changed. The world has woken up to people like McMillan, who led a bunch of men called the Highland Brigade, responsible for some of the most gruesome crimes ever committed on the continent. Having sat with the Kurnai elders in the making of this story, it was important I stay in my lane in regard to McMillan. His violence and the massacres linked to his name is not my story to tell. Yet I am tied to the bastard. Living on cleared farmland, the McMillan and characters like him opened up to a whole new world. McMillan's last expedition was to cut a track between two gold mining outposts. Starting in Omeo, he and a bunch of ragtag men carved out a 220-kilometre track all the way to Woods Point. It was ambitious, going against the natural grain of the mountains. From mountain top to river flat, up and down, over and over again. It's now overgrown, seldom used, and has never been run. I knew nothing of the track until one day seeing a sign. Given the truth was out about McMillan, I was surprised to see his name. Bloody hell, I thought. A track with a bad name. That needs a story. I called Charlie, who helped me run the Australian Alps walking track 9 years earlier. Everyone needs a Charlie on a trip like this.
Charlie's role is very similar. He'd basically, well, he did everything. He supported me, you know, cooked for me and made sure I was well fed and watered and put tents up and lit fires, and I was ready to sort of pack it in or reduce my kilometres by day 4 or day 5, and Charlie said, no mate, you're all right, you've got plenty left in you yet.
It's easy for me to say that though, isn't it?
Well, it was sort of true too, but you need someone else to tell you. And I didn't really know. You don't quite know what you're capable of unless someone believes you're capable of it more than yourself, because I'm still genuinely nervous about tomorrow, so.
Well, it feels a bit different to me this time round.
Yeah.
Because it's shorter and the road access is a lot easier, and obviously there's not as much logistics-wise for me to be having to pre-think about.
Yeah.
So it definitely feels a bit more relaxed so far.
This is my carrot for the finish line. Stubby a beer and licorice. That is innovative. No one else is going to eat it because I've just been playing with my feet. So the licorice tastes a little bit like feet. I think I'm a little underdone. In fact, I know I'm a little underdone.
Who puts sunscreen on at 4:30 in the morning? A redhead does. Anxiety just turned to excitement.
That's a good thing.
It is, yeah, because it's sort of, there's no more excuses, no more thinking about it now. Now it's back to blood and bone and bloody doing it, you know?
That's all you can do now, is just run. You ready to roll?
Yeah.
Don't eat the blackberries.
There's a real irony in that they were put in for people to eat to stay alive when they were at the colonials.
And now they kill you.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie.
Happy trails, buddy.
Thanks, mate. I'll sit you. Geez, we did this a bit, didn't we? 9 years ago.
I know.
This is the coldest today we'll get, and I'm sweating the house down. So, do the math. I should have started at 4 this morning.
Yep, well said, mate. You should have got up earlier. Today needed patience. It would be my longest ever running day over serious, often untracked terrain. I ran 700 kilometres across these same mountains 9 years ago at roughly 50 kilometres a day. Now I'm doing 3 days at roughly 70 kilometres a day. I'm probably a touch stronger, but I'm also weaker. I'm 9 years weaker. I'm a bit older, so I've got to look after myself.
A little bit nervous about the strength of this day in terms of heat. There are already pockets of heat already, and it's 6:30 in the morning, and we're at altitude.
When McMillan's men came through here, nearly everywhere they went was a first for a white person. And that's how the story was told to me as a kid. Discovery. It's taken decades for a local bushwalking club to piece together where McMillan and his men actually went. Led by Aboriginal trackers, it was a tale of two cultures. The colonists represented contrast, unfamiliar with how to live in these mountains without bringing their food with them. Within days of departure, their food was going bad in their tucker bags. Here I was during the same week of summer, 156 years later. You could say I represented a similar kind of passing, clad in synthetic, eating highly processed foods, guided by the hard work of others.
I've always liked that, and they leave them out on the nails to give it time to grow, so it doesn't grow into the tree. 3K steep, track steep. All right, team. Oh, that is a thigh burner. This is not to be run. Holy shit. I don't think I've ever been on such a track. I'm not kidding, I think this is one of the steepest tracks. I think this is one of the steepest tracks I've ever been on. It's kind of brutal and beautiful. Not kinda, it is brutal and beautiful. No real track to speak of. You can barely bloody walk it, let alone
run it. Real steep. Brilliant. The anxieties are melting away because I can be nothing else than here right now. Oh golly, feel the burn. And this is the brutal, magnificent Australia. This is heavy duty now. It's scrambling using my hands, and this is Snakeville. Anyway, so back up on the plateau, up in the height. It's lovely and cool up here. It's still only 9 o'clock in the morning. So for the fact that it was so hot down there in the gully, you would call this nothing less than glorious running. Oh, and lovely to be back up in the company of snow gums, my favourite tree.
I passed the sign that tells me it will take me 3 days to walk to Talbotville, which for me, running is 8 hours. Gow's Plain, an untracked grassland, pancake flat, no real markers to speak of and baking hot.
So, I think I know where I am, but I don't know where the track goes. I'm really disappointed. I followed my geography pretty well. So I'm now doing my first double back of probably 2 Ks, maybe a touch less. Which isn't much of a track.
As my key support for this trip, I don't like calling Charlie reliable because that doesn't tell you of his excellent character, intelligence and calmness when driving around the mountains keeping check on his brother-in-law. As a firefighting engineer who loves the bush, I was well chuffed when he married my sister. During the running of the Alps almost a decade earlier, Charlie got stuck, he missed me at junctions, and he constantly fixed things. His reliability gives me plenty of time to get lost.
So my calamity continues. This is the wrong spur. I need to go further west. So I'm really disappointed. I'm just taking 5 minutes to walk to recombobulate, and that's if I'm right. The failing of doing this as a run is that you just miss cues. I must have missed cues. Things didn't add up, and you try and... Anyway. I went the wrong way, Charlie. I've just been swearing at the world for the last hour.
Where'd you go, man?
I'll show you on the map. The next spur. And I
Just back there.
I kept following the fence, following the fence. Anyway,
You're here now.
I've been remapping myself. You know, it makes my 75k day 82 at the moment.
How you feeling it?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Good. Super disappointed, but I think I'm starting to get over that now from the... I did it once in 14 days last time, and now I've done it within the first bloody 30 Ks. Yeah, I'm starting to slow up with the heat. I'm with everything.
Yep. You'll be knocking you around.
It's not distance, and I always forget that this is not about distance, it's about terrain.
Yeah.
Best case is
Talbotville.
at 65, which is still 30 Ks away, isn't it? If I sit down for too long, you start to cramp up a bit and your dressing to go to shit in about a minute.
All right, I'm in one piece, I'm alive. Life's okay. My nemesis is now at play, the sun. And fire came through last summer and has nuked any form of canopy for a lot of this stuff. So I'm just out there in the blazing heat. I've already drunk roughly 5 litres of water, maybe 6, and I'll drink that again before I get to camp.
When a Scottish bloke and his men passed through these hills, representing a time in history, it meant that the bush and the people that lived here would never be the same again. In truth, McMillan's era gave way to a colossal shift to the nature and culture of the continent. Human meddling was about to be felt on a grand scale. You could say that you can see this change in the way our bush now burns, hotter and more frequently than ever before. McMillan was a lightning rod for a different world.
Charlie fought those fires last year. Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, well, one fire further over.
Is that the one that scared the hell out of you?
Yeah, they all do.
So I'm thinking I'm around the 40k mark. That's on the track, plus my add-ons. I'm fast approaching 50k's in the legs, and I can feel it. I can genuinely feel it. It's hot. James and Sam.
Yeah. G'day.
Met a couple of friendly fluoro men out here in the bush, clearing the actual trail. How about that? Good on you, fellas.
Easy going from here.
You reckon? Yeah, it's not. Freshly groomed, look at this. Guys have been working on it today. Not really runnable, but you can shuffle down and, Jesus, feel the lactic. All right, onwards, hey?
I was starting to feel not quite right, which is fine enough for such a day. It's hot and I'd come a long way and I'd gone up and down thousands of metres. The trouble with this is recognising how bad is.
So I'm feeling like I'm fully deprived of my inner nectar. My legs are on fire as I speak, with nettles and blackberries and sticks and whatever else. This is a bonkers track. This is full on bonkers.
Yeah, so we're a little bit behind now in K. So we're here at Talbotville, which is a beautiful old gold mining settlement, but we should have been a further few Ks down the Crooked River here. So, but anyway, I'm sure Bodie will make that up in the next few days as we go along, but we're now, yeah, waiting for him.
I haven't crapped in 2 days and then weed. I've had 10 litres of water filled up at the creek. Getting a bit dim-witted. I can't drink enough. So there's something not quite right. Okay, so just a bit of an update as to where we're at. It's past 5:30 now. I'm still out on the trail. I drove in along Crooked River. I kind of did the sums and worked out that really he should have hit me by 4. It's a bit of a worry though. All I can do is hope that Beau's okay, get back to the car, get some lamps, and then maybe head back out at him.
Chris, from Charlie. You there? Yeah, copy Charlie, go ahead, over. Just checking in on you and seeing how you're going, whether you've caught up with Bodie yet.
Yeah, negative on catching up with Bodie. I ended up parking the car and heading in on foot after a while. Over.
Okay, so what's your plan? Are you going to push further along or wait for him there, over?
Yeah, I think I'll push further along. I'm a little worried, and it's pretty steep and gnarly out here, so if he's weary and takes a misstep, I'm a bit worried about that. Over.
Okay, all good. I copy all that. I'll get in touch with you again in about an hour's time.